You think you know Virgo, the perfectionist, the overthinker, the quiet one in the corner, but Virgo's power runs deeper than you've ever imagined. Beneath the surface lies a sacred force, the healer, the alchemist, the priestess of order. Virgo refines chaos into clarity, turns detail into devotion, and transforms the ordinary into the divine. These 12 hidden secrets will shatter the stereotype and reveal why Virgo is one of the most underestimated signs in the zodiac. Stay to the end, and you'll never see Virgo or yourself the same way again. Before there is mastery, there must be refinement. Before something becomes sacred, it must first be made whole. This is where Virgo begins, not in loud declarations or grand gestures, but in the quiet art of purification. Virgo's power is not the kind that demands attention. It's the power that listens, that observes, that waits until the right moment, the right word, the right cut, and only then does it move. But when it does, everything changes. Virgo is the alchemist of the zodiac, the one who turns the mundane into the miraculous, and not with magic wands, but with presence, with precision, with the unwavering devotion to what is real. It is an earth sign, yes, grounded, rooted, tangible, but it is ruled by Mercury, the planet of intellect, perception, and divine message. That means Virgo doesn't just see the world, it decodes it. Where others see chaos, Virgo sees patterns. Where others drown in overwhelm, Virgo quietly begins the sacred process of distillation. It asks what matters here, what can be healed, refined, realigned, not out of control, but out of reverence. Virgo does not seek perfection for approval. It seeks it because the soul remembers wholeness and cannot bear to live fragmented. You'll find Virgo's power in small moments, the way a surgeon's hand steadies under pressure, the way a poet chisels truth into a single sentence, the way a gardener tends soil with devotion, as if each seed is a prayer. These are not minor acts, these are rituals. Virgo knows that the divine is hidden in the details, and to ignore them is to miss the sacred entirely. In ancient mystery traditions, the Virgo archetype was not the virgin in the modern sanitized sense. She was the untouched, the sovereign, the devoted one, the Vestal Virgin, the temple priestess, the one who kept the sacred flame alive when empires fell. That is the power of Virgo's service as sacred duty, not subservience. To tend, to mend, to bring order where there is decay, this is Virgo's quiet revolution. We live in a world that idolizes noise and spectacle, but Virgo teaches a deeper truth. Real power whispers. Real transformation begins with alignment. And alignment is not found in fantasy. It is found in the daily conscious return to what is true. It is found in making your life an altar, one deliberate choice at a time. So when people call Virgo too much, too picky, too serious, they are missing the point. Virgo is not obsessed with perfection. Virgo is obsessed with integrity, with making sure that what's inside matches what's outside, that the words you speak are the values you live, that the vessel is clean enough for the light to move through it without distortion. This is the first secret of Virgo's power. Purity is not fragility, it is force. It is the strength to strip away illusion and return everything thought, body, spirit to its most essential truth. If Virgo is the alchemist, then Mercury is its sacred tool, not a wand, but a scalpel, sharp, clean, surgical. Virgo doesn't just think, it dissects. It analyzes, refines, rearranges. It translates the formless into the functional. This is the second secret of Virgo's power. Clarity is a spiritual act. Most people believe Virgo is overly analytical, but what they mistake for criticism is actually discernment. While other minds rush to speak, Virgo listens between the lines. It notices what is missing. It senses what doesn't align. This isn't judgment. This is Mercury in Earth. Form, the divine communicator made real, rooted, embodied. Virgo's intelligence isn't abstract. It doesn't live in theories alone. It flows through systems, through structure, through the rhythm of routines that seem small on the outside, but are holding something vast and invisible in place. Virgo brings cosmic order down to earth line by line, breath by breath. In a disordered world, Virgo doesn't collapse. It organizes. It creates rituals that restore sanity, sacred systems that hold healing. It doesn't control for the sake of power it controls, because something precious is at stake. Virgo is the one arranging the altar, cleansing the space, setting the intention with such precision that miracles can find a place to land. This is the priestess of precision, and she is not interested in chaos. Her loyalty is to the divine pattern, and every detail she touches is a thread in that pattern, a candle placed in the right direction, a sentence revised until it rings true, a calendar arranged so the soul doesn't burn out. These things may seem small, but Virgo knows small is sacred. And when Virgo speaks, truly speaks, it isn't chatter, it's transmission. Because Virgo has been watching, Virgo has been listening. And when the words finally come, they come not from ego, but from alignment. That is why Virgo's words can cut so deep, not because they're harsh, but because they're honest. And they arrive clean, exact, undistorted. In mythology, the goddess Astrea, Virgo's celestial symbol, was the last of the immortals to leave Earth. She stayed while others fled, clinging to humanity, even in its brokenness. That is the essence of Virgo devotion to truth, even when the world chooses illusion. Not in loud protest, but in subtle sovereign presence. So if Virgo seems quiet, don't mistake that for absence. Virgo is tuning in, gathering information, reading the energy, preparing to bring order where disorder reigns, not to be praised, but because the work must be done, and Virgo trusts itself to do it right. This is the second secret. Precision is not perfectionism. It is prayer, a way of offering every word, every task, every breath in service to something higher. And in Virgo's hands, even the most ordinary moment becomes a container for the extraordinary. But what does Virgo do with all this precision, all this sacred attention, this refined awareness? It heals, not loudly, not dramatically, but through presence, consistency, and care, so devoted, it becomes divine. This is the third secret of Virgo's power. Healing is not what Virgo does, it's what Virgo is. To be Virgo is to walk through the world quietly mending what others overlook. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. In a world obsessed with big solutions, Virgo offers small revolutions. A cup of tea handed to a grieving friend. A carefully crafted spreadsheet that prevents burnout. A revised email that saves a relationship. These are not minor acts, they are acts of grace. Virgo knows that healing is rarely found in spectacle. It is found in showing up again and again with clean hands and open eyes. And yet this devotion is often mistaken for servitude. Virgo is called the helper, the fixer, the assistant. But this is a distortion of its true archetype. Virgo does not serve from lack. It serves from sovereignty, from a quiet, unwavering belief that wholeness is holy, and every small act that tends toward it is a sacred rebellion. The true Virgo is not subservient. It is initiatory. It holds the lamp in the dark. It cleans the wounds others are too afraid to look at. It makes order not to control, but to create safety, structure, space for others to unravel. Cry, breathe, heal. Virgo is the energy that says, let me hold this with you, not to fix you, but so you remember you're not alone. This is not easy work. Virgo feels everything. It carries the weight of what others won't admit. It senses the misalignments, the inefficiencies, the quiet ways people betray themselves, and it wants to help. But that help is not always welcomed. The world resists correction. It fears truth. And Virgo often bears the burden of knowing too much too deeply, too soon. But still, Virgo stays. It keeps tending even when it's exhausted. It keeps showing up even when it's unrecognized. Because Virgo is not motivated by applause. It is motivated by alignment, by that subtle soul-deep knowing that if even one thing is restored, one thread rewoven, then the sacred has been served. Virgo's healing is not always soft. Sometimes it's direct, surgical. It doesn't coddle delusion, it cuts through it. Because it loves truth more than comfort. And it knows comfort built on illusion will never last. Better to feel the sting of clarity than the numbness of denial. In archetypal terms, Virgo is the herbalist, the midwife, the sacred caretaker, the one who anoints the broken, not with words, but with presence, who restores the temple, not by rebuilding it overnight, but by sweeping its floors every day in silence with devotion. This is the third secret. Healing is holy work, and Virgo was born to do it, not as martyrdom, not as self-erasure, but as a sacred offering in a world starving for integrity. But healing requires more than kindness. It requires truth. Unflinching, unfiltered, sometimes uncomfortable truth. This is where Virgo reveals its fourth secret. Integrity is Virgo's mirror, and it holds it up without blinking. Not to judge, not to shame, but to realign. Virgo sees where we've drifted from ourselves, where the small lies became habits, where the shortcuts cost us something real, where we've traded authenticity for acceptance. And it simply reflects back, here is where it hurts, here is where it's off. This power is not always welcome, because honesty, when delivered with precision, can feel like a blade. But Virgo never cuts without care. The blade is sharp because the wound is deep, and Virgo loves too much to let it fester. This is the hard love of the sacred editor, the devoted critic, the one who tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to. You see, Virgo doesn't correct because it's superior. It corrects because it's responsible, because something inside says, this isn't right, and I can't unsee it. Whether it's the messy code in a system, the unspoken tension in a room, or the betrayal you've made against your own values, Virgo notices. And more than that, Virgo cares. This is where Virgo's spiritual maturity shines. While others avoid confrontation to keep the peace, Virgo is willing to speak the uncomfortable truth if it brings alignment, not for control, but for healing. Because Virgo understands something most don't. Peace without integrity is not peace, it's paralysis. Virgo's honesty is sacred. It's a purification, a shedding, a stripping away of noise and excuses. And while it may sting in the moment, it brings something rare, relief. Because underneath it all, we're not afraid of being seen. We're afraid of being seen and rejected. Virgo does neither. It sees you fully and then says, let's work with this. This is the divine intelligence of discernment, not just knowing what is wrong, but knowing what is no longer right for who you are becoming. Virgo teaches us that evolution isn't just about becoming more, it's about becoming true. In mythology, Virgo is linked to Dike, the goddess of justice and moral clarity. She weighed the hearts of humans against the stars, judging not by appearances, but by truth. This is Virgo energy, not punishment, but realignment, not criticism, but care with a spine. It's the friend who tells you the hard truth out of love, the mentor who won't let you settle, the healer who names the wound instead of dancing around it. This kind of presence changes lives, not because it makes us comfortable, but because it makes us conscious. This is the fourth secret. Virgo doesn't shame you. It calls you home. It asks, are your actions aligned with your essence? Are your choices serving your soul? And if not, Virgo will help you change them, not by force, but by guiding you back to the truth you already knew. In a world flooded with information, Virgo does something rare. It filters, it sifts, it discerns. This is the fifth secret of Virgo's power. Wisdom is not in knowing everything, it's in knowing what to keep. Virgo is the living library of the zodiac, but it is not a collector of facts for vanity. It is a curator, a sacred archivist, a strategist of the soul. Virgo understands that not all knowledge is useful, not all advice is wise, not every emotion deserves a microphone. In a world drowning in noise, Virgo creates silence with meaning. It gathers what is essential and lets the rest fall away. This is its magic, the power of discernment. You'll see this in the Virgo, who rewrites a chaotic plan into clean, focused action, in the writer who edits their rawest thoughts into razor-sharp truth, in the teacher who breaks down complexity into clarity that awakens others. Virgo's mind is not just intelligent, it is precise. It doesn't hoard, it hones. And this clarity doesn't come from detachment, it comes from deep observation. Virgo watches everything, every nuance, every change in tone, every misalignment between word and deed, not to judge, but to understand. Because understanding is Virgo's true form of power, the ability to see something in its entirety and still choose to improve it, that is sacred work. Virgo is the strategist behind revolutions, the system thinker, the one who quietly builds the foundation while others chase the spotlight. While others seek to be heard, Virgo ensures there is something worth hearing. And when Virgo speaks, it often says more in a sentence than others say in a speech. This is the scribe energy, the translator between vision and form, the ancient monk preserving sacred texts, the modern analyst who sees not just what is but what could be. Virgo doesn't settle for data, it looks for meaning. And then with calm precision, it builds something useful from it. In ancient cultures, Virgo energy was honored through craftspeople, healers, temple scribes, those whose work outlived them because it was built with care. Their names may not have echoed in fame, but their influence shaped civilizations. That is Virgo's legacy, not to impress, but to impact. Virgo is rarely loud, but it is lasting. And this is what makes Virgo so quietly dangerous to systems of chaos and ego. It brings order that outlives noise. While others burn hot and burn out, Virgo lays bricks, one by one, with intention, with vision, with an eye toward eternity. The fifth secret is this: Virgo doesn't need to know everything. It needs to know what matters, and then protect it, polish it, and pass it on. Because to Virgo, wisdom is not about how much you carry. It's about what you're willing to put down so that only the true remains. You won't always see Virgo coming. It doesn't announce itself with fire. It doesn't demand to be seen. It doesn't need the spotlight to lead. This is the final, most overlooked truth, the sixth and most transformative secret of Virgo's power. Virgo leads a silent revolution, not through noise, but through ritual, through presence, through the slow, unwavering devotion to doing the right thing even when no one is watching. In a world obsessed with urgency, Virgo moves with intention. Where others rush, Virgo refines. Where others crave recognition, Virgo finds meaning in the unseen. This isn't weakness, this is sovereignty. Virgo doesn't need to be praised to know its value, because its work speaks for itself, quietly, consistently, over time. This is the energy of the priestess, sweeping the temple floors at dawn, of the healer, checking every vial and measure before the medicine touches skin, of the organizer who arranges chaos into harmony so others can breathe again. Virgo knows revolution isn't always loud. Sometimes it begins in the details, the meal made with care, the truth spoken gently, the system restored silently from within. Virgo doesn't disrupt by force. It rewrites reality one choice at a time. A clean line in a cluttered page, a healed boundary in a toxic pattern, a simple yes that honors your body, a quiet no that realigns your path. These aren't small acts. These are threads in a new world, woven carefully by hands that are both soft and unshakably precise. And when Virgo reaches its full expression, the integrated sovereign conscious Virgo, it becomes more than a healer or thinker. It becomes a channel for truth, for service, for sacred design. It builds the bridge between the ideal and the real. It births form from formlessness, and it does it without needing to be named the hero. Because Virgo service is not performance, it is devotion, not to an image, but to an inner code, a sacred contract with life itself. And that contract says, I will care, I will correct, I will cleanse, I will serve something higher even when no one sees it but me. This is what makes Virgo so powerful and so underestimated, because it doesn't shine to be admired. It shines because it's aligned. The sixth secret is this: Virgo doesn't need to take over the system to change it. It simply becomes the piece that no longer agrees to dysfunction and then quietly builds something better. So if you've dismissed Virgo as a background character, look again. Behind every system that works, behind every space that feels calm, behind every healing you didn't know you needed, Virgo was there. Not loud, not boastful, just right, just true, just exactly where it needed to be.